What's going on? It's your boy Mills here with my lovely wife Mish.
Hey,
How you doing this evening?
I'm all right. A little tired, but I'm all right.
A little tired.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been kind of a long day. We've been
Long week.
Long week, absolutely. I mean, it seems like we had extra days on this week. It's pretty crazy.
Been pretty long.
Yeah, but we've been taking care of business, doing the work grind and all that good stuff. And we are here on another episode of Married to the Game, sipping our drink. What are you sipping this evening?
Well, this evening I am drinking Pinnacle Whipped and Bacardi Pineapple with a Sprite back. What are you drinking?
I am sipping a little bit of a trusty dusty here. I've got Johnny Walker Red and Coke mixed together. So, you know, a little distinguished gentleman vibes going on this evening.
Yeah, it's a very shut down drink. Our drinks earlier were a little more,
Yes, they were definitely more festive.
Yes.
Worthy. We call them Prescotts. The reason we call them Prescotts is because they're actually daiquiris.
Absolutely.
We started calling them DACs for short, and then I started calling them Prescotts because Dak Prescott. Shout out to Dak Prescott.
Absolutely.
I believe you are my family member on my mom's side. Sheldon, somewhere there's a Prescott there. I'm not that cousin that's going to ask for money or anything like that. Only if I need it. Can I have some money? But in all seriousness, though, shout out to Dak Prescott. We was drinking Dak Prescotts earlier today. And we're pretty turned. But this should be a good discussion because we have a lot of topics that, like yesterday, we left some meat on the bone.
Okay.
We'll just go ahead and run through those really quickly because in the midst of all of this KD drama, one thing that we didn't even really talk about was the potential Kyrie and LeBron James reunion, which is kind of the meta story to all of this, right?
Okay. Well, before we go there,
okay,
we lost another one today.
We did. We're going to have another moment of silence.
We lost Damian Lee today or yesterday. One of these days. Rather yesterday or today, but the announcement was made. He is going to the Phoenix Suns. Congratulations to you on getting the bag for 1 year.
Congratulations.
Absolutely. So we are now down to, how many we lost? Five?
Yeah, so we lost.
And we gained
GP2.
one.
Yes. So we lost GP2. We lost Belly.
Mm-hmm.
Nicola Bielitsa.
Mm-hmm.
Nicola,
Otto Porter.
Nicola? Is Nicola Bielitsa? Belly. Okay, Bielitsa. Otto Porter.
Mm-hmm. Damian Lee. And it's another person. Who is it?
We said you.
Oh, JTA.
JTA. Yes, we lost 5, but we did gain Dante DiVincenzo, white boy swag, because the Warriors apparently have to have a quota of one white person on our team every season.
But we do. We got the little rook who did a good job in Summer League today.
Oh, look, I don't know if he's white enough. But in any case.
No, he's like Brazilian or something.
Okay, there we go. All right.
Yeah, but he did a really good job apparently. He's all the crave in the Summer League today, so shout out to him.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing what he's able to do. Now, do you think he's going to be signed on a two-way, or are they going to give him a roster spot?
I think that's what the Summer League kind of does. They kind of see where they're going to place them once they are, done or whatever. Not sure how that works.
Right. Okay. So, in any case, Kyrie and LeBron James reunion. Another topic is Westbrook's potential last year in Oklahoma City. Definitely wanted to get into that. Also, Boston got Malcolm Brogdon. I know you don't know.
I don't even know who that is. So do we really have to talk about that? Apparently he was on the Indiana Pacers. Nobody cares about the Indiana Pacers like that.
Well, he was previously on the Milwaukee Bucks. And then he got traded to the
Pacers. And before Giannis became the beast that he is, nobody cared about Milwaukee either.
That is true.
Okay, so.
But what I'm saying is, okay, so we'll talk about it from this perspective. Malcolm Brogdon fills the void that the Boston Celtics needed to be a complete team in the finals. Marcus Smart, great player, defensive player of the year, not the best decision maker, particularly down the stretch. Not the best floor general.
Doesn't matter.
Malcolm, okay, I'm just trying to frame it so that we can get this off of the page, okay? Because if we don't get it off the page, it's going to be here in the next episode. Are you ready to just get this behind you? Let me go ahead and get this out, okay?
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Malcolm Brogdon fills the void that the Boston Celtics needed to be a complete team. He can beat you off the dribble. He's a good floor general, will make better decisions, who can also play defense as well. So it's a guaranteed upgrade for them. And the question is, do we think that they will end up repeating as Eastern Conference champions and making it back to the finals? But you don't want to talk about it.
I will say what I'm going to. I will answer that second part of the question.
Okay.
My answer is not if Jason Tatum don't take that Kobe Bryant band off his arm.
We did talk about that yesterday as well. Yeah.
So if he ain't doing that, it ain't happening.
All right,
because we all know. Be Jason Tatum.
Be Jason Tatum. Be Jason Tatum. You don't have to be Kobe. Kobe's legacy will forever be etched in all of our minds and hearts. But he's a one of one. Mm-hmm. You can channel that energy. You can channel that mentality. But
be a one of one.
He was a Laker.
But be a one of
one. Celtic with a Laker.
I'm just saying, be a one of one. Be a Jason Tatum, not a Kobe Bryant.
Right, and don't be afraid to be a superstar either. That kind of disturbed me. Those kinds of things.
Absolutely.
Right, like
if everybody else calling you a superstar, own it. Yes, that's me.
Point blank. Period.
I'm a superstar. You're calling me a superstar, so apparently I must be. Yep, I'm running with that. I'm a superstar.
Nobody who makes first team All NBA
is not a superstar. Absolutely not.
There's only what? 5 players that make that team.
Mm-hmm.
So you're one of the 5 best players in the NBA.
Right. This year.
Season.
Yes.
You gotta own that. You're a superstar.
Absolutely.
Moving forward, can Giannis and the Bucks get back to the finals next year, or who should be the favorite in the East?
Well, we skipped 1 and 2.
We talking about we skipped 1 and 2.
We never talked about it.
Let's not go through the list. Topic rundown here.
Let's not go through the list. Let's just talk about them.
Okay, fine. We'll just go ahead and do it your way then. That means you get to do it my way tonight. No, I'm just playing. Okay, so Kyrie. Why are you sitting over there all shy? Hey, look, this is a marriage program too, damn it. It's probably gonna be a short show. In any case, Kyrie and LeBron James reunion. So it seems as though all signs are pointing to Kyrie going to the Lakers to rejoin his old buddy, his old pal, his old compadre, who taught him everything he knows about basketball and how to win, and took him under his arm, under his wing, as that proud father that he is, LeBron James.
Okay.
Now, knowing Kyrie, it could very well be that he's trolling everybody. We have no idea where he's going to be.
Absolutely, because you never know with Kyrie. And here's the thing. Even if he does end up at the Lakers, right? He's just a little tad more on the I won't say crazy. I will never call him crazy. I will say he a little yay.
Eccentric.
A little eccentric.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Enigmatic.
Yeah. He a little out there. So I don't know if that's going to be a good fit like that.
Yeah, so I guess that is really the main question. So we're just going to assume that that's what it's going to be. Right. Obviously,
and also in the rumor mill, there it's saying that with the trade for Kyrie that they also want Seth Curry.
Okay.
Which is kind of interesting as well.
And honestly, so going into the Seth Curry thing before I get back into the main topic with Kyrie and LeBron, that actually moves it back towards where we know LeBron wins. You're now surrounding LeBron James with shooters.
Yes.
Right? So if Seth Curry, okay, so now I'm going to do a sidebar. LeBron James was talking about playing with Steph Curry in his podcast, in his show.
Yes.
Well, might as well get his brother if he can't get Steph.
Well, not to mention the fact, how funny is it if they do get Seth Curry? So you had Steph Curry and Damian Lee on the same team.
Right.
This year, and then next season you'll have Damian Lee and Seth Curry on the same team. Just keep it all in the family.
Wait, was Damian Lee? I thought he was going to Phoenix.
Oh yeah, he is going to Phoenix. That's JTA
okay.
that's going to.
JTA
It's still a Warriors playing.
Right.
They always take our players.
Right, poaching.
They always take our players. I'm still upset about JaVale McGee.
Hey, look, shout out to JaVale McGee.
Shout out to JaVale McGee.
Look, that man is a 3-time champion.
And
for
he turned his whole thing around.
Absolutely. So, yeah, that 3-time champion and gold medalist and flexed with the picture in the same way that his mom did, biting the gold medal. So, shout out to JaVale McGee. That's pretty awesome. So, yeah, so if they do end up getting Seth Curry,
I just be feeling bad because Seth get traded around like all over the place. Oh my gosh,
it's messed up, and the grind that it took for him to get where he's at now.
Yeah, you gotta uproot your whole family every year. Like, come on. You got traded from the 76ers to get kicked out the first round. Like, in Brooklyn, and y'all had a good chance. Like, it just don't make no sense to me. Just all over the place.
But I mean, the thing is that when you're a player of that caliber, right? When you know you're a bona fide role player, you understand that that's part of the reality of the business of the NBA. And players who don't get traded should realize that's kind of a sign that you're on your way out of the league. Right. Mm-hmm. If you're not a star, you're not going to get traded, or you will get traded because you have such immense value, or the team isn't, looking to build around you. But if you get traded as a role player, it's a sign that you still have value. You're valuable to other teams, just not within the system that they're looking to create.
Right. Because we all know that at this present moment, who is running who is the spearhead of this trade right now?
You talking about GM James?
that would be the one.
Yes. So, in any case,
he is definitely the one moving all of the pieces that will happen for this trade.
Yeah, and we talked about that a little bit last episode with regards to mercenaries and how, even though LeBron James has fulfilled all of his contracts, he's still, obviously encouraged AD to break his contract with the Pelicans to then join the Lakers. Had Wiggins sent out of Cleveland, right, as the number one overall pick to ship him up to Minnesota. So clearly we know that LeBron James has input with the front office, right? It don't happen unless he says yay or no, period.
Absolutely.
Right. So again, going back with Seth Curry, it moves LeBron closer to the formula that he's always used for winning. But going back to the original point with the Kyrie and LeBron James reunion, and you kind of hinted on it, right? We now have to look at these players for who they are now. And it's been several years since they've played together.
Absolutely.
Last year they played together was what? 2016, 2017? Right? Because that was the first year of Kevin Durant.
Yes.
Right?
That was the last, and then that was when Kyrie wanted to leave. Yeah, and Kyrie wanted to leave after that. Right.
So it's been 5 years.
Mm-hmm. And they're not the same people.
They're not at all. And not only that, they've been to LeBron James has been to, obviously, the Lakers. They won a championship. And Kyrie has been to two different teams, Boston and Brooklyn.
Yes.
And so you have to ask yourself the question, one, does LeBron James, now obviously these rumors wouldn't be circulating unless there wasn't some interest on the part of LeBron James. But does he have the patience to deal with this Kyrie? Right? Can LeBron James reel in the Kyrie Irving from the Brooklyn Nets? Because I will point to this. He just had to go through a Russell Westbrook who wouldn't come off the bench and who could not adapt his style of play around him. Mm-hmm. So if you're LeBron James, I'm going to just say if I'm LeBron James, right? Yes, I may have had this previous history with Kyrie Irving, but if I couldn't get it to work with Westbrook, and I'm now dealing with a more stubborn, and I'm sorry, Kyrie is more stubborn than Russell Westbrook from the sheer fact that Kyrie is a true believer. From a standpoint, he really believes
everything that he be saying. Everything that he be saying. He thinks it is 100% factual statements.
So how are you going to reel him into how you all are supposed to be able to play? Not only that, you all have a new head coach.
I think it's going to be on some J.R. Smith type stuff.
Explain.
J.R. Smith was a little all over the place. Like, let's not even be.
Was he all over the place, or was he
was.
just easily distracted by certain herbal?
Okay, that too. But either way,
remedies?
it doesn't matter what the distraction was. He was all over the place. And it frustrated the hell out of LeBron James.
Well, we all saw it in Game 1 of the 2017-2018.
Who you throwing the ball to, bruh? He thought he had more time.
We saw it. So no need to revisit that. We saw that.
But that wasn't the only time that we've seen LeBron James frustrated at J.R. Smith. He did a few things that was a little frustrating. I think if he can deal with that for as many years that he did, he can deal with Kyrie.
I'll push back in this regard, right? J.R. Smith, at the time, was one of the players in the league who was just as explosive. I won't say just as, because nobody's really reached that threshold. But was considered to be the Klay Thompson of the Cavaliers, where any given night he can just get hot and ain't nothing you can do to stop him.
And then the other nights he was doing dumb stuff.
Fair enough. But I just feel like, particularly if you're, let's look at it from a franchise perspective, right? The Lakers are only 2 years removed from winning a championship, although as bubblicious as it may be, right? They're 2 years removed from a championship, and the year after they win the championship, they lose in the first round to Phoenix.
Yes.
And
because somebody was in street clothes, but keep going.
Look, I mean, I wasn't trying to make any other players catch strays other than the ones they needed to. So, I mean, he could have left that out. But okay, fine. Somebody was in street clothes. Got it. So, they had street clothes a year and a half ago. And this past year was an absolute disaster by any stretch of the imagination.
LeBron was hurt majority of the time.
LeBron was hurt, and
there was some more street clothes, and there was a brick somewhere, and
what direction was that brick?
In the west.
North? It was
the west.
In the west. Okay.
It was
in
the
west.
It was definitely a brick in the west.
It was a brick in the west.
And then let's see what other catastrophe was happening in LA besides those three. Well, that was enough.
So obviously,
I mean, not to mention the fact that it was a whole joke from the very beginning. They called them the geriatrics. They called them all of that stuff because it was pretty much all veterans. They were all older, and people didn't think that they would be able to do it because of their age. Accidents happen, and that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah, so let's look at a couple of the bright spots, right? Before we get back into the original topic with regards to Kyrie.
There was bright spots?
There was at the beginning of the season. At the beginning of the season, maybe the first 15 games or so, Carmelo Anthony was the number one person to catch and shoot threes.
Yeah, Melo did good at the beginning of the season.
But it still matters when you have a season as bad by Lakers standards as they had last year. You have to look at certain points and say, okay, these are areas where we can say, all right, that worked for us. How do we channel that? When AD, LeBron, and Westbrook, and please understand, I'm not trying to give Laker fans any kind of hope, right? But if there was any kind of hope, this is what they would be relying on. When they were all together, they were 11-10. That was a winning record. If you had a winning record with those guys, you would have made the play-in and or the playoffs.
Yes.
Right? Because I believe the Spurs had a losing record as as a 10 seed. Right? So you would have made the playoffs had you had that nucleus together playing all season. They were derailed by injuries. We understand that, both to LeBron and Anthony Davis. Westbrook never really found his footing on that team, being able to play with LeBron. And not only that, obviously his skills have diminished. He's no longer as explosive of an athlete as he used to be. He no longer is shooting. He's always kind of shot this way.
He can no longer pad the stats.
That is also true, right? I mean, well, he still did. I mean, I think this season he averaged maybe 17, 8, 9. So he was still very close to a triple-double. Somebody can fact check that. This ain't about all the facts or not. Somebody can check that out. But it was close to a triple-double because that was one of the things that he talked about in his exit interview was, the season was a disappointment because I didn't average a triple-double. What?
Because this is not your team anymore, so they can't throw you the ball to pad your stats.
Right, but if
they just throw the ball to LeBron now to pad his.
Okay, so that's goodness gracious! You came with the fire. I need the horn emoji. My goodness! I mean, we're only 21 minutes in, and all of the darts are just being fired right now. Like, come on.
It's LeBron's team. He can do whatever he wants.
I get that. At the same time, it's about winning, right? And that's what it boils down to with this reunion. If it's really going to be a reunion, right? I don't see how Westbrook and Kyrie will be on the same team.
They won't. If they do anything, they'll do a trade, and Westbrook will be in that trade.
Okay. Right.
Period.
And I agree with that. So, that being said, Kyrie left LeBron because he didn't want to be sunned. Well, what are you going back to?
Sunned.
So, as my word says, if I rebuild what I once destroyed, it makes me the transgressor. So, Kyrie, then are you willing to actually be humble and realize that your best shot?
He will.
Will he? Or will
at
he
the
find
beginning.
Some way? Oh boy!
This is how he does things.
Do I need to put my 10-4 hat on?
No, I'm just saying. Every team that he goes to, when he went to Boston, he was humble at first. And that quickly changed. When he went to Brooklyn, he was humble at first, and then that changed. He will be humble if he goes to LA at first. And then that will change. Patterns repeat themselves. And the thing is that people try to say, oh, it's not this, oh, it's not that. But if your pattern shows that that's the type of person that you are and those are the things that you do, everything you say after that gets discredited because that's what you do. Your pattern shows this is what you do.
Yeah, and so if you're LeBron, right, and you've had the experience with Kyrie, are you then going to Darvin Ham, who's the new coach of the Lakers, with this trade in mind and understanding there's a high possibility of you getting him? Are you basically explaining to Darvin, look, this is what you're in for with Kyrie, right? So that you can kind of preempt the potential chemistry issues that will arise. Because, look, Kyrie does not respect the coach.
No, he don't respect pretty much anybody that don't go with his philosophies.
That too. But
if you ain't letting me be me and do what I do, I don't want nothing to do with you.
And so it's like, how do you get Kyrie to then buy into a system, right?
You don't.
So then that by default means Kyrie's only going to the Lakers because LeBron's there and he's willing to buy into the LeBron system.
Yes.
Which means the coach on that team is going to be LeBron, not. And we
wasn't
know
that already the case?
Well, I'm just saying we know LeBron does well with first-year head coaches.
I'm just saying, isn't that already the case? LeBron wasn't the coach. Who was the coach?
Frank Vogel was the coach of that team. last year, in the year before.
Was he?
So look at what
It was LeBron James. It's always been LeBron James. Even with Ty Lue, it was LeBron James.
Ty Lue was willing to step up and basically hold LeBron accountable. And LeBron has even said as much. I would say that with Frank Vogel, they traded away all of the players that made him effective. Caruso got traded away, defensive player. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope traded away, defensive player. Dwight Howard traded away, defensive player. JaVale McGee traded away, defensive player. You traded away all of these players that operated within the system that Frank Vogel implemented. And
why did they get traded?
They got traded because they gutted the team to try and get Russell Westbrook.
Because who wanted him there?
LeBron James.
Huh? I didn't hear you.
LeBron James.
Oh, okay, yeah.
LeBron James. LeBron James wanted Russell Westbrook there.
So
I said it.
Who team is it again? It's LeBron James' team. It's always been LeBron James' team. Just like in Cleveland, nothing's changed. It's just a different coast now.
I guess I'm excited. I would say intrigued to see how, if this is what it's going to be with Kyrie and LeBron reuniting, what that is going to look like with now 5 years having passed, right? To see how they're going to be able to cooperate and to see how long that relationship is going to be able to last. Because as toxic as Kyrie has been in Brooklyn, where he was the leader, and now going back into the situation where he's going back to the dog returning to its own vomit, as it says, how is he going to deal with that up until the trade deadline? I'm sorry, I don't have too much faith in that.
I don't either, but that's neither here nor there, because at this present moment he can't stay in Brooklyn because they don't want him there.
Right.
So he got to go somewhere, and LeBron want him, so make it happen because that's what he wants.
And which is kind of cold, because you were the individual who wanted Westbrook there, and I'm segueing here. You wanted Westbrook there, even though, we know you wanted DeMar DeRozan, but the Lakers were unwilling to give DeMar DeRozan the longer-term deal. I think he wanted a 4-year deal, and I think the Lakers were only willing to give him 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
So you didn't get that. So obviously you go with the consolation prize.
Yeah, but he was
Russell Westbrook.
expecting something different from Russell Westbrook.
That he didn't get.
And he didn't give him that.
Right.
So now you got to go.
So that leads me to believe that whatever's going to happen in LA to get Kyrie there is going to involve
Westbrook.
Russell Westbrook.
Absolutely.
Right.
And
Not
if that is the case,
I don't think it's going to be a 1-for-1 though.
If that is, heck no, it can't be a 1-for-1.
all.
LA gonna have to give up a whole bunch of stuff besides Russell Westbrook to get a Kyrie Irving. Meaning, if Russell Westbrook is going to Brooklyn, Kevin Durant better get the hell out of there right now.
But Kevin is as good as gone. I don't think that's going to be an issue with him getting out of there. And I don't think that it's going to be Russell Westbrook to Brooklyn. I think that what the Lakers
You think it'll be
do
many moving pieces?
is going to be multiple moving pieces. Somehow Russell Westbrook is going to make his way back to OKC for his victory lap in OKC. And here's why. What just happened in my Brian Windhorse? What just happened in Oklahoma City maybe a couple of weeks ago where Russell Westbrook happened to be in attendance?
I don't know because I don't care.
Damn it.
It's Oklahoma City.
All right, shout out to Brian Windhorse. I was trying.
Nobody cares
Russell
what happens
Westbrook
in
was there
Oklahoma City.
receiving the key to the city, right? So what I'm saying is, particularly as Russell Westbrook's value has fallen off of a cliff, right? And we saw it because we're on the West Coast and we see when Russ plays us, and it's a low-key rivalry, obviously, going back to 2016 with a 3-1 coming back against them in the Western Conference Finals. And because Russell Westbrook just in general talks a lot of shit. But we've seen him go from Oklahoma City to the Houston Rockets.
Was it Rockets? I thought Washington was.
No, Washington was after.
Oh, okay.
So Oklahoma City to the Houston Rockets to the Washington Wizards to the LA Lakers, right? And now you're potentially about to be on your 15th. Why would Russell Westbrook, after having the season that he had on the Lakers with the whole world being able to see everything that we saw as we were playing against him when he all those years in OKC, right? Inefficient, right? Plays a little bit wild.
Mm-hmm.
Plays hard but wild
Mm-hmm.
on one side of the ball. Plays no defense.
Okay.
Why would you want to go anywhere else other than the place that essentially nurtured you and protected you from all this criticism?
Because Russell Westbrook still thinks that he's good.
Ooh. Ow.
So that is the difference in the situation. He still thinks that he got it.
Yeah, and even Shannon made a comment as such. He's like, the one thing you have is these old heads out here who look themselves in the mirror, they in their 50s and 60s and thinking, oh yeah, I can get out there. Nah, brother, it ain't you no more. Russell Westbrook is playing like he still has the athleticism of the 20-year-old Westbrook, but he doesn't. And his game has not evolved beyond that. And so, again, I think that he will end up going to OKC. He'll be able to, in some way, shape, or form, at least help guide the younger generation in OKC and help them maybe avoid some of the pitfalls he had in his career. I don't know. But it seems like he has an affinity for OKC. So, in any case, going on to the next topic, I think we kind of beat that one in the head long enough.